Welcome to Indian Tech Icon Spotlight. We have a young and dynamic leader, Apoorva, with us today. Apoorva's career has been around customer success, revenue growth, and post-sales support. Let's hear from Apoorva about her career, her journey, and know more about her. Welcome to the show, Apoorva.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, pleasure to have you here. Tell us, what do? You lead a customer solution group. You manage a team, but what it is like about?
Yeah, I work at a company called Growth Loop, which is in the marketing technology. We are in the composable CDP space. For them, I lead a customer solutions group, and my group consists of 4 different teams. So the first team being pre-sales engineering, which is basically these are technical engineers supporting our sales reps to get the deals through the finish line. Then I have customer architects that help our customers get onboarded and plugged into their data warehouse. Then I have customer success teams that help our customers be successful. And then I have support and services team. So that's the professional services arm of the org as well. So overall, I lead about a team of 30 people or so.
Tell us about leading these 4 different groups. How do you manage? Because they are 4 different, if you will, functions altogether.
Yeah.
Right from pre-sales to professional services, right? Somebody trying to knock the door of the customer, and then a team who's actually doing the work at the customer side to help them, right? How does it look from your side? How do you stitch this all together?
I think it's there is an art behind this. Right, because when you think about customer experience, most of the companies, what they typically do, it's like a conveyor belt, right? You go through a sales process, then you go through post-sales, and you're sold on a vision or a dream when you're trying to solve a problem, when you buy a product or invest in any products. And then post-sales, sometimes you're able to hit the KPIs and things that you're trying to accomplish, but most of the times, because of the fragmented customer journey, what happens is your experiences are lackluster. And comes the time of renewal, and then you decide, you know what, I did not get enough value from this tool, so I'm not going to renew, which happens a lot. So my role is critical because I try to orchestrate this entire customer journey from the time before the deal is even closed, which is why I have the pre-sales, part of the pre-sales team as well. So when my pre-sales engineers map a solution, that handoff between pre to post becomes a very, very critical point. So we know that, hey, this is the solution that customer is buying. On the post-sale side, that becomes the blueprint that we want to implement off of, right? So everybody from the SAs to the CSMs to the support reps, everyone knows exactly the journey that the customer is on and what they're trying to get out of that, out of working with our customer team, which plays a big role. So when you deliver on customer expectations and focus on exceeding them, you get customers that renew for many, many years to come. And that's single-handedly how I prevent churn.
Great. So it's all about bringing the customer delight, I assume.
Exactly, right? Yes.
So as part of this role, how do you monitor or measure the customer's success in terms of adoption? Like at what point you say, or which team you work with? Because I believe that might be one of the important areas where how customers are adopting the product.
Yeah. So I measure customer success based off of a bunch of different metrics, but some of the core ones are time to go live. How long does it take for the customer to go live from the time they've signed the deal till the time they've been able to start, they can start using the product. Our benchmark is about 5 to 6 weeks. We recently got Costco to go live, which was within 5 weeks. Wow. And we're delivering on enterprise level deployments. So these typically do have a lot of InfoSec and security team reviews and getting the access and working through multiple teams, cross-functionally, both internally as well as with the customer. But we measure that. That's a very important indicator of success. Second one is being able to getting our team in front of the executives and understanding what vision they have and how we are working across the business priorities for our customers. So the businesses typically have an outcome of like revenue lift or improving conversion.
Yep.
So how are my teams able to deliver on those milestones using our platform or a product? So it's beyond adoption. It's more about business outcomes. Are we able to drive positive business outcomes for our customers or not? And then the services and the support teams are basically enablers. So they help enable the customers. They make sure that there are no issues with the platform, tackling the professional services side as well. If there are feature requests or if there are certain data requests that the team can tackle, then we kind of all work together to help our customers be successful.
It's very interesting. And in fact, the entire technology seems to be very interesting to me.
Yes.
Because when I look at it from a customer standpoint, I have so much of data. How can I make it, or how can I use the data, put it to work to generate more revenue? It's all being done by this tool. This is amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
So now, as we talk about the technology, you got a tool that kind of does all this. And now, if you're looking how the world is evolving from here, everybody's talking about AI.
Yes.
So how does that AI impact your side of the story? Because most of the time, when anyone talks about AI, they are talking about AI helping to increase the productivity,
right?
Or do something on it. So how does this AI first is this AI impacts this line of business at all, and if it does, then how?
I think it definitely impacts. I also think that it does it in a positive way. I think AI, if used correctly, can give you immense amount of efficiency gain, especially in the post-sale side, right? So let me give you an example of working with an enterprise customer. For example, one of my CSMs, what they'll do, they'll look up the customer. They'll ask AI, hey, go through their 10Ks and company 10Qs and give me all key insights that I need to know as it relates to my company and the product I'm trying to support. Within 5 minutes, you have brought yourself up to speed on their business priorities, potential risks, whether or not this company met the targets, what are some of the goals they're working towards. And these are incredible insights. Then the CSM could ask AI or ChatGPT in this case, now tell me, here are my stakeholders. Who else should I be talking to? Who else should be a key player? And if I'm not talking to them, how do I get in front of these folks and kind of come up to speed? So building customer intelligence in general has become extremely easy and useful, right? Before, it would take you weeks to just make a list of stakeholders, make a list of different just make a list of different types of folks that you would otherwise interact with, then do research, spend hours on Google search. So this is part one of the efficiency gain, right? Down the road, I feel like there would be an agent that will build this customer intelligence and have it all ready. And then there will be another agent that will help you with the manual admin work, right? So you'll have CRM updates, which will be automated. You will have different kinds of workload that typically takes a lot of time by the CSMs.
Yeah.
It can be automated. When we talk about renewals and upsells, there is a strategy bit that plays a big role, because how do you get multi-year renewals, for example? How do you secure a deal? How do you negotiate contracts? There is an art and science behind it, which also now you can teach an agent and say, hey, this is the deal that's at stake. Here's what I'm trying to do. How should I position certain things? How should I negotiate a contract? And once you automate a lot of these mundane tasks that before could take you like months, now you can work on those within a week or less than a week, I would say. And that just becomes your superpower, right? You're more alert, you're more educated, you're more aware, and you're more efficient in the way you operate. So, and recently I did another interview where I said that, in the past, when you interview for leadership roles, people would ask you, how big is your team? And now more companies are more interested in learning how lean was your team and how big of a business did you support? Right. Because they're now evaluating you based off of how efficiently can you lead a team using the tools and technology that's at your disposal versus
of course.
Past,
everybody wants to optimize.
Exactly.
And these are some great examples that you brought up, how AI can help and how people are using it.
Yeah.
Also, in terms of AI compatibility with the product itself, does that help your product as well in some shape and
Oh,
form?
100%. 100%. We have an audience agent that can recommend audiences to our customers. As in, it can tell our customers, hey, if your goal is to improve revenue, here is a set of people that you can go target. And here are their attributes. And based on these attributes, here are their spending behaviors that you can monetize off of. And that data is important from a retail media perspective. So when brands are trying to advertise their products to a certain set of folks, like that audience alone becomes extremely important. When you run certain ad campaigns, for example, these are really, really important pieces that you want to take into account. Like I want to run an ad campaign to everybody that buys a soda because I'm launching a new drink.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine if you had access to everybody that bought a soda in the last week. So AI can automate a lot of this. And this process historically would take companies anywhere from 2 to 4 weeks to get one set of audience or one segment. Whereas now teams are able to run this based off of AI. And that's just one agent that we recently launched. Another one is Journeys, which can now build complex marketing campaigns for you.
Interesting. Yeah, I do see that, a lot of people talk about the productivity gains that comes out of the AI and these tools and agents. But it's interesting to know that how it can also be incorporated in your product for the customers, not just internally, but it's kind of helping the others to kind of give that insight sooner, less time. It's interesting. Now, going back a little bit about your previous roles, right? You have been into customer success for a long time.
Yes.
What does customer success looks for like from your side? Like, what does it mean?
Customer success for me and the teams that I've led in the past typically means that, your dedicated team and your sole mission is to help make your customers successful. How you do it by helping them get value out of the products that your company is building and supporting. You do that by delighting customers, delivering on amazing customer experiences. And you do that by quantifying the impact that your teams are able to have on your customers. So, if I were to flip the question to you, do you prefer, when we look at, we all eat fast food. So going through a McDonald's drive-thru versus going to a Chick-fil-A drive-thru, two different experiences selling the same chicken burger.
Sure.
And that's truly where customer success plays a big role, saying please, thank yous, going a little bit extra mile. It makes all the difference. That's why when you shop at Walmart versus your experience shopping at Nordstrom Rack or Nordstrom in general as well, two different experiences.
Yeah. So basically that means customer success is not just about customer success itself, but it's like the customer experience.
Yes.
Right? What experience the customer is getting, and then within that experience, all these things come in.
Yes.
If I'm understanding correctly.
Exactly. Yes.
And you talked about this already, but when people think about customer success, sometimes they are wondering that, what all it consists of. But and you talked about thinking about customers, what they need to do, like small thank yous and those small changes. Apart from that, the customer success, when you think about it, like for example, you look at any business, how do you push that this customer success, I have to probably think about these things for this particular customer, because I'm sure that every industry segment, they will have a different way of handling the customer success also, right?
Yeah. I think if I were to generalize it, if you think about any business out there, right? Something as simple as a company that makes pencils. Any business will have a product or a service that you're selling. You'll have a sales team that's proactively bringing in the new revenue. And then you have a post-sales team that's responsible to retain that revenue. So not only retain what you have, and then also we are responsible for growing that revenue, right? Because you're not just going to build pencils, you'll have pens, you'll have erasers, you'll have a bunch of different products.
Yeah.
So the role that customer success teams typically play is how do we, the revenue that you're working so hard to bring in the door, how do we keep it? And then how do we help you grow that revenue base even more? So when COVID hit and we were all locked up for over 2 years, I would say, companies realized that there are additional services that the people might need. That's why the Instacart delivery started to come. All of these were originated by the customer success teams because they realized that customer behavior is shifting and now we have to adapt to that. So you will see a lot of like food delivery services, grocery delivery services started to emerge out of that because your CS teams are the ones that played a big role. So not that, with the biggest evolution I would suggest is DoorDash went through that. Originally a restaurant food delivery service. Post-pandemic, they realized that their customers need something else. And that's the support teams and services team that said, you know what if we also delivered groceries? What if we also delivered medicines? What if we also deliver like pet products? And ever since they've evolved into so many different categories, right? So now they not only retained you as a customer who was originally just ordering takeout, now you're also relying on them for groceries and for pet food delivery and just different things, to really just creating an ecosystem around the customer, right? So that's what customer success teams typically do.
Interesting. Yeah. I've never thought about that from that angle that, so basically if I'm understanding that correctly, customer success team is basically thinking about what do I need to do in order for my customers to succeed, right? That's their entire goal now.
Entire goal.
Okay. Interesting. So going back a little bit more, like how did you get into this customer success? Like maybe let's start from your early days college. And you tell us about your college, and then we'll come back to how that journey has transformed, because our audiences would love to know what was that defining moment that you want to do this and not this, because at one point you have 10 different options to choose from.
Always.
So let's first talk about your college. Where did you study? What was it like? What did you study? And then we'll come to what was that defining moment?
I will take you a step back into my personality as a child.
Sure, yes.
And then take you on a journey, because there's a lot more that goes into this.
Yeah, sure.
So I was always, growing up in a middle-class Indian family. Both my parents had government jobs. My mom, now she's retired, used to be a teacher. My dad, bank manager. So education was always forefront in the house. Very strict household. You have to ace. You have to do well. But me being me, I was extremely bubbly, very chatty, very outgoing person. And my brother, on the other hand, was always very studious, always topping in his class, doing well and whatnot. So he went on to pursue an education with IIT and did a good job, and he's doing really well in his life. And me, I wanted to do something that was customer facing. I wanted to do something that would let me get the most out of my personality, which is outgoing. I want to be in a I used to love talking to people, and I wanted a career path that would let me do that, which is how I found hotel management and hospitality management. So I started off, I did my bachelor's in hospitality management, and that only amplified the need of delivering, the amazing experiences, helping people, bringing a smile on their faces. How do you delight someone? How do you do this? So very early on, I believe at the age of 18, I was able to get into the exchange program. So I did a 6 months internship at Hyatt. It was a destination resort in Texas. And I learned a lot from that experience about, hey, if a customer is asking for, let's say, a normal room that they booked, what if you give them an upgrade because you could? And that brings a smile. Or if somebody is checking in and they mention that they're here to celebrate their kids' birthdays, and you just leave a balloon in the room. Like, these are small things, but they go a long way. And then you as a customer remember these experiences, which is why you keep picking those brands again and again. So customer centricity was kind of embedded into my early days. And I knew that anything I would ever do in my life would have to be customer focused. It would have to be something that customers, that would bring a smile on other people, right? That would just help exceed expectations. So that's really how I kind of got into the customer facing world.
So it's interesting. So your education was into hospitality, and whatever you learned there and whatever you saw and whatever your mantra was, you are able to bring it back to your current role.
Yes.
However, there is a big gap between that industry versus what you do today. So what was that career defining moment? How did you decide to get into technology, or how that happened?
I would give a lot of credit to my husband. When I got married and moved to the States, I interviewed at a lot of different hotels here in SF and in Bay Area in general, and realized that, one, this is great. The experiences that I wanted to be a part of and I wanted to deliver wasn't something that I was seeing here. So if you've been to Europe, you'll see when you stay at a hotel or any place, like, it's different. Hospitality is completely different in India as well, or in Asian countries versus what it is in the States. So that was a big turning point where I started to decide, I started to think through, like, what other options do I want to be, where I can still do what I love doing. I can follow my passion. And that's where my husband, said, what, you would actually be really good at account management or customer success or client services type of role. So I said, well, it doesn't hurt to try. Let me go ahead and start applying. So I applied at a bunch of startups. Got into a company called SmartZip, which was a real estate tech company. And it was a really interesting product as well. It would help real estate agents identify homeowners that are most likely to buy or sell their home. So I would work with difficult real estate agents, and I was helping them on the post-sale side. I became the account manager. Well, I loved my job. Did really well. And then within 2 years, I was promoted to lead a West Coast region. That led to future roles, and here I am. So
interesting. So essentially that switch, I would say, although your love was for the hospitality industry, but just because the industry in general was not how you thought it to be in a certain location, not generally speaking well. So you said, okay, maybe that's something you still want to do, but maybe you may not be able to do as much as you want to.
Yes.
It's a very interesting switch. And then tell us about your challenges when you switch to this technology side of the things, because coming back from hospitality industry, things work a little differently, as I understand, versus tech, which is kind of very contained, very small, like, in hospitality, they're like, it's grand scheme of things there.
Yeah.
Versus tech is like small, but everything is here.
Yes.
What were your challenges when you first switched to this industry?
I think thinking outside of the box. There was a reason why I did well early on, because I realized that just because I have a checklist that I have to go through, make sure customers are onboarded, they're happy, they renew. How do I go one step further? And that was a challenge in itself, but then overcoming that became the biggest strength that I thought, like, that became the stepping stone of my career as well. So that was a big one, I would say, where just thinking outside of the box, but then also advocating for myself and stating to my bosses at the time that, hey, we should reimagine our experience, because this is how you can actually retain more customers. And not coming from a tech background, but bringing a fresh set of eyes, coming in from my original mindset of, like, how do you, deliver experiences that, you exceed expectations on. So that was, I would say, getting buy-in from folks that have been doing it for many years was a challenge in itself, because here I am, a woman in tech, difficult role to begin with. And then someone coming in new without a lot of background in tech and teaching these folks that have been here for 10, 15, 20 years, hey, here's how you do it differently. I was really grateful and lucky to have very good leaders early on in my career that supported and tried new things and created that safe space for me to, grow. And yeah, those were some of the biggest challenges early on for sure.
Yeah, no, I can totally imagine coming from a different industry and background versus getting into this, which could be really overwhelming at times. But glad to see that you have done so great in your career. And now that you are at a place where you are leading teams, which are not just one function, but across 4 different functions, that's kudos to your abilities and your thought process, what you used to think. Now, some other things that maybe I can ask you here, because you are from that industry and you are dealing in that kind of role, which is like dealing with the customers, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people, when you see them, they are not easily able to handle customers or talk to them.
Yeah.
Like, how do you think about these things? Because it's not everyone's forte also.
Yeah.
Right? Going to the customer, some people are like scared, some people say, I don't know what. So how do you think, and what's your thought process when you are actually, and I understand this could be a tough role also at times, because customers sometimes are not happy, but you still have to deal with them. Sometimes there are brand new customers you don't know. So what's your approach and how do you think?
I think biggest thing that intimidates people is the title. We think, oh, I'm talking to a CTO, or I'm talking to a CPO, or I'm talking to a CIO, or someone else that's like higher up, right? I think, and I used to be the person that would get nervous all the time before a customer call. 2 things that helped me. One was prepping ahead of time, learning a little bit, taking personal interest in getting to know the person behind the title. And you can do that by a simple Google search nowadays. And you can see so much of like, maybe Apoorva loves to cook, and people can see that and find that about me, or where I live. And, it can just be something as simple as asking about, hey, weather in California is so great. How did you spend your last weekend? But something small that can help them get out of their title shell, but talk really more about them as a human. And sometimes nowadays, everybody's on video calls and whatnot, so you can see their background, and people's backgrounds behind the video can also tell a lot about what they are and who they stand for. So if you're ever on a Zoom meeting with me, you will see my kids' drawings and my kids' pictures. Like I'm a mom at heart. And it gives an opening to others as well to get to know me a little better. But again, in a controlled way. So I think that just going a little bit more and doing a little bit of research about your customers, helping build that relatability of like, no, you're also a parent, I can relate to you. Or you're also living in California, I can relate to you. Or we just had big flooding or something, I can relate to you. Or there is a fire in our neighborhood, I can relate to you. Or there are sometimes mutual connections, right? Like, hey, I saw you're connected to so-and-so, how do you do this, right? Or how do you know this person? So those kind of are little nuggets that you can use to build a connection. And humans thrive off of building connections. So that's one. Second thing I focus on is reminding myself that the person behind the title is also a person. It's also a human. And you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be genuine. So when you lead with curiosity into any conversation, you learn so much about people. And imagine, like, if you think about last time you had a good conversation with someone that was genuinely curious about you. It goes a long way. You remember those conversations.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. Those are some of the things
well put. I think this will help our audiences, because I have known a lot of people who are kind of scared at the moment. I mean, they are great at what they do generally, but sometimes you get to know that, okay, I'm nervous to talk to, not scared, I would say, but nervous to talk to someone. And you have articulated it very well, that how do you approach these things, and what have helped you. Hopefully that will help others as well.
My father was a bank manager. So it was a lot about our household conversations growing up used to be a lot about making deposits. And he used to live by this thing, like, before you withdraw something, always remember to make deposits. And that is such an applicable theory in life as well, right? I can't ask something of you if I haven't offered something of value to you. Which goes a long way.
Yeah, that's a very different perspective to look at things. Coming from that background, I think, that makes sense, that if you're offering something, obviously you're adding value to the other person.
Yeah.
Very well said. Now, we talked about the customers, customer success, your role. One thing offline that we were talking earlier, I want to touch base upon that a little bit, that you want to work for companies who are scaling. Right?
Yes.
Right. So tell us about that, like where that thought comes from, why do you think so, and how you see that exciting?
I find that really exciting because I'm someone that loves, trying new things. That's what I have done all my life. I've broken the silos. I've broken the status quos. I have not followed the traditional path that a normal Indian child would do. I've done things differently, and I love to have the control of being able to try new things. When you work in startups, they are in the growth stage, they are scaling, and they want to scale fast. I believe in failing fast and failing first, so you can learn and iterate and do it right and get it. So I'm able to not only put in a lot of work in designing those solutions for companies that I work at, but also how do I quantify my impact? How do I try new things and see what works? And once I know what works, how do I do more of that and help take a business from maybe 5 million in revenue to 50? Which is, again, there is a lot of art and science behind it, but being able to make the decisions and try new things and having the control and not having any red tape to work against, I feel like works really well with my working style. So I don't see this as a good or a bad thing, that, a lot of the times they're like, if you're not working in any of the FANG companies, you're not doing well. You're just some startup person, right?
Yeah.
But actually, I know a lot of people, they've made their career off of working in startups, and there is so much potential, and you get to try so much, and it humbles you a lot because you're wearing a lot of different hats.
Right.
So that's kind of why I prefer to stay in that, because I like the autonomy to try different things. Which otherwise, you may or may not get.
Right. Yeah. Bigger companies may have different protocols versus startup culture where everybody's trying to scale,
exactly,
run fast and do a lot of things. Now, out of this, aside from your personal, professional life, a little bit about your personal life, like what you are outside of the work. You said you are mom at heart. Somewhere in between when you said. What's Apoorva like in the personal life? What are your likings, hobbies, anything we want to share with the audiences here?
I love to cook. I'm a big foodie. And also I'm from Indore, so food is in our blood, right? You have so I love to cook. I love to experiment a lot. If I'm not in my home office, or if I'm not working, I'm either making different dishes and whatnot, making my kids try it. And I am a very involved parent as well, so I love to get my kids to be involved with cooking as well. I think when you experiment new things and you try and you see the impact of like your labor, right, it just helps your creativity come out. So I love doing that. I also like gardening and just spending time with my kids.
Yeah, I think that kind of is a stress buster for you as well.
Yes.
In a way.
Yes.
Wonderful. Well, it's just like we can go on talking about things, but given the time that we have on hand, it was really interesting to know your thoughts, how you have transformed your career right from hospitality to tech industry, and now you're doing so very well. It's really helpful for our audiences also to know your thought process, how you grow in your career, what kind of thought process you need to be able to be at the leadership role. So congratulations to you for your successful career, and we wish you that you continue to grow from here as well, and
Thank
do
you.
whatever takes you at places. Wishing you good luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me today.
It was our pleasure. Talk to you.